In this section, we're going to be installing and configuring a key plugin for SEO, which is called Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T. And what it does is it gives us all-around functionality for pretty much any SEO aspect of a WordPress website that you could think of. And that has both global settings as well as settings for each individual post or page. So there's two ways we can install this. We can install it right from our admin area, or we can download it and upload it to our site. Just to show you the site, we want to click on this WordPress SEO plugin, and it gives you a little rundown of what you can do with it. And it's completely free and open source. So what you can do is download the plugin, and you can open the archive and then upload it to your plugins folder. But I'll show you the easier way to do that. So I'm logged into my blog admin area, and I'm going to go to plugins and then add new. And I'm just going to search for Yoast. And we can see it's the first one that comes up. It's this WordPress SEO by Yoast. I guess the name of the plugin is actually WordPress SEO, but it's known as just Yoast as well. So let's choose to install that. Okay, so that's installed. Now let's activate it. And you get a little pop-up that asks if you want to help with tracking, and that's basically just sharing information about your site so that they can improve the plugin, but I'm going to choose not to allow tracking. And after you install it, you should see this SEO link. Mostly this is global configurations. We'll also be able to customize the SEO of each post or each page, but this has a bunch of global settings that we can go over. There's a tour if you want to take an in-depth look at everything. And you might want to do that if you're serious about WordPress SEO. The next thing we have is an option to reset the default settings. So basically, if we go through and we make a bunch of changes to the configurations, things like that, and we want to just start over, we can simply click this button and it will let us start over. Next we have tracking. So this is pretty much what we just saw with the pop-up. It'll ask you if you want to provide data to try to improve the component. You can do that if you'd like. I usually leave it unchecked. And then we have some security issues. If you uncheck this and disable the advanced security, then you're going to allow your authors and your editors to do things like redirect posts and add no index to them, things like that. So you might want to keep this checked. I don't really see a reason to uncheck it. And usually components or plugins like this, they have the optimal settings already configured. So you can see tracking isn't checked, security is, things like that. Down here we can actually verify our site with Google Webmaster Tools, Bing Webmaster Tools, and Alexa verification. I'm not going to do that here. We'll actually have a section on Webmaster Tools later on in the course. So next we have the titles and metas area, which we have a few tabs to go over. So the first thing, we have this title setting. And what this means is basically you can customize your titles from within WordPress, but there are some themes that if you have them installed, they will actually control the title tags themselves. So you might want to force rewrite titles. Alright, so if you're having issues with your theme and your page titles, then you might want to check this. Next we have site-wide meta settings. So let's go through these options. First we have no index, subpages of archives. Okay, so basically we want to check this if we want to prevent Google from indexing additional pages of content that are already indexed. And next we have use meta keywords tag. There's even a little caption here that says, I don't know why you'd want to use meta keywords, but if you do, check this box. So basically we can choose to use the meta keywords tag, but it has no effect in search results or pretty much anything. The meta description does, because that's what the user sees, but the keywords, no one sees them, they're not really important. So these next two options I'm not really too familiar with. I know they have to do with if your site's indexed in Yahoo and DMOZ. It affects if you want to use those descriptions or not, but other than that I'm not really sure what these are, and I just suggest leaving them alone. And then down here, these aren't too important either. We can actually choose to hide RSD links. We can check this and this, unless you have some kind of third-party application that allows you to update your WordPress website. If you don't have that, then you can check all three of those and you'll be fine. And you can also hide the RSS links if you want. Alright, so let's click on the Home tab. Now this is basically the title and the description for your home page. Now there's two types of home pages in WordPress. The default type of home page is basically just your posts. It's your most recent blog posts. And if you have that, then you might want to have a dynamic page title that changes depending on the posts. So you would keep something like this, which is called a template. It'll show the site name, the page, the separator, and then the description. And the other type of home page is just a static page, a welcome page or something like that. In that case, you could get rid of this and just type in whatever, my home title. You could do just a custom static text, and you would use text for the description as well. So next we have post types, and basically this is exactly what I just said, except it's not for the home page, it's for post pages. Well, this is for posts. Then we have an area for pages. Okay, so WordPress has posts and pages, and then for media we can utilize this as well. So we can use a template, which is what I would obviously suggest, because you don't want a static page title for every post. You want to utilize the page title for SEO. It's actually probably the most important on-site aspect of SEO. You can also choose to not index or follow posts or pages or media. Authorship, you can choose not to show the rel attribute, and then the date and the snippet preview, you can choose if you want to show that, and you can choose if you want to hide the SEO meta box. Alright, so taxonomy is pretty much same thing, except we're dealing with categories and tags. So these will be category pages. So I would probably just leave these templates the way they are. And then other, we have author archives, date archives, special pages, things like that. So those things really aren't important in most cases. So the next tab we have is the social tab. So we'll click on that, and this is all to do with social network integration with Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. The first option you want to keep checked is to add Open Graph metadata, which will go in the head section of your website. And you can either add a Facebook user as an admin, or if you have a certain app, you could actually add the app. So let's click on Add Facebook Admin. And I'm going to use my Eduonics Facebook account. And you'll get this pop-up, which we need to confirm. And let's see, we'll click on Save Changes. Alright, so now we have a Facebook admin. Sorry about that. attached to our WordPress site. And we can add others if we want as well. So Facebook page URL, we can also add our Facebook page URL. So let's go ahead and do that. We have our Eduonix page. These two have to do with the Open Graph meta tags, but this here, this image URL, this is pretty cool. Usually when you share a post with Facebook, it'll grab an image from the post, but a lot of times it grabs either the wrong image or it won't even have the ability to grab the correct image. It won't even offer it. So what this does is gives you a default image that you can use on posts where you don't have an image for one, or if you can't get the actual post image. But that's not really going to apply if we're using this plugin, if we're using Yoast, because inside of each post we can actually choose manually which image we want to show on Facebook. So I'm not going to put anything in there, but that's just to let you know that that functionality is there. So I'll save changes, and now we can take a look at the Twitter tab. There's not too many options here. We can choose to add the Twitter card metadata, which will go in our head section, so we'll do that. And we can go ahead and grab our Twitter username from our profile. Alright, so now we're connected with Twitter, and Google Plus is actually a very important one, because you want to use Google authorship. You want, when a post from your blog comes up in the search results, to have your picture next to it. And let's just take a look at an example of that. I'll just say WordPress blog, and let's see, for instance, this here, this guy has his image through Google authorship. This one does as well, and they just stick out as opposed to one without an image. Okay, so we'll be talking about that more later, and you can do that. There's many different ways to do that, and this is just one of them. So I'm just going to set the author to myself, which is the only account on this site. And as a page, we can actually put a Google Plus page. So I'm going to grab the Eduonix page and throw that in there. Alright, so we'll save that. Alright, so that's it for social. Next we have sitemaps, and we're going to be going over sitemaps later on. We're actually going to just create our own XML sitemaps. So what I'm going to do is actually uncheck this sitemap option, just so I can show you how to create one later. Permalinks, let's see, we want to strip out the category name from the permalinks. You may want to keep it, but I like to have only the post name, so I want to take that out. Let's see what else. Here we can stop, we can redirect attachment URLs. So a lot of times you'll have an image or video or some type of media on your site that'll have its own URL, which you don't really need. So we can choose to redirect those media URLs to a page, to the actual post. Let's see, so here we have the option to remove the reply to com variables. So that has to do with comments. If you have a lot of comments, you may benefit from keeping this checked. Let's see, so redirect ugly URLs to clean permalinks. Not recommended in many cases, especially if we already have our permalinks all set up. So we'll just leave that. And then here we can choose if we want to force HTTPS or not. We're just going to leave the default. Okay, internal links. So this will allow us to enable breadcrumbs, which is basically just a a sub navigation at the top of each page, and we could enable it. We can choose the separator between links, the anchor text for the home page, and I'm not going to do this now, but we may get into this later. It also gives you the code to put into your template to be able to use it. RSS, we don't really care too much about. You can put some content in that you want to show before your feed and after the feed, and you have some short codes down here that you can use. Okay. Import, export. This has to do with importing and exporting your SEO settings, and you can even import and export from different plugins. You can see we have the import from Robots Meta, the RSS footer, and the Yoast breadcrumbs plugin. So we can do that, and we can create an export file just by clicking this export button, and we can also import settings as well. And then finally we have this edit files link, which just allows us to edit our robots.txt file and the htaccess file. So that's it for the global configurations. Later on we will be getting into individual pages, because you have options, certain options on individual posts and pages. So we'll get more on that later.